in the Hibana, still something you would just prefer not to face running into a site with 30 seconds left, if that's how these attacks are going to go.
Yeah, and that is actually gonna leave Kaid open. So, places like Trophy Statuary, where that triple wall is just gonna be a fortress to try to get through. Kaid does run a fortress, so he likes to bring that wherever he goes. And also
Ah,
gonna bring the bandit as well. So that's just trying to get through that wall. I think it's gonna be a little harder, but as I say that, going over the Rooney, so they're trying to get a little bit of catch all, even though they're not bringing the Jaeger, still bringing the Rooney. It's just a whole nice all around lineup right now.
that is a tough six pick from
Attackers need to
GUGUDOLLS,
locate
though.
and defuse the
Six pick
bomb.
from the Aruni, or sorry, from the Bandit to the Aruni for Sukuna, then a six pick from the Yana to Nomad for GUGUDOLLS. That's Burb right there. Not that Nomad on Villa is bad by any means. She's quite good. She is the main flank watch on this map to set up those air jabs. But Yana is just such a direct counter to Aruni. When she is not in play, Aruni's potential for impact skyrockets. Because now you need to waste actual utility, concussions, flashes. Of course, GUGUDOLLS will have that to burn, but not having that Yana clone, which is just a free source of burn for those Aruni gates,
5 seconds
it
left.
just means their utility game will hurt a little bit more than it otherwise might have.
I think it depends on where these Surya gates are played and where the type of utility that GUGUDOLLS choose to display. They've got smoke canisters, they have flashbangs. Actually, Burp choosing to go for the breach charges instead. We do see Demetrios having those flashbangs instead, but I want to say that Burr bringing those breach charges. What does Nomad have to bring the breaching charges rather than that? Is Solus starting this game off with a bang and the good night in chat?
First kill?
Wow, we are starting this lighting up already.
We're one kill in and we're dropping the GN? No, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Nice shot. Took out the Twitch as well. Of course, without Mira in play, Twitch isn't as impactful as she might otherwise be. Still solid op, has her potential. You also have a lot of utility still in the hands of GUGUDOLLS, the Hibana, the Zofia, and the Nomad. But a nice shot by Solus, nonetheless, to start things off on a good note for Sukuna. Putting things in an early man advantage for the defense is not a situation you're ever going to shirk and never going to look unfavorably upon. Hasn't stopped GUGUDOLLS all that much. They've still progressed through Aviator in games, start meeting their way towards the front of the site. Now, this is where we started to see struggles from the previous attacking teams. They're able to rotate over, already doing better.
Yeah, so the rotates are very strong. Losing Marmalade, I think, is hard, especially Solus finds Goddess as well. So now, a P10 Roni in the hands of Yamurni, devastating little weapon. Doesn't matter how many magazines or how small those bullets are, he's still able to find headshot after headshot with that. And not to find another one, sadly, not going to be able to finish off Oshizo. And there we go, finally ending the reign to the good night, putting all the operators to rest. The Sandman, as some would say.
You don't have to deal with Solus anymore, but one operator does not a defense make. You still have the other four on the side of Sukuna, and all the utilities still at their disposal. An air jab flies on over, flashes as well, but neither blind Cozy. The Goyo allowed to continue playing behind this shield with the C4 as well. First smoke grenade goes out from Meg, or Woman Hater 445, as you otherwise might know her. She sends them out. Moshizo will send on a Zofia impact in, destroying that Goyo and forcing the Goyo back. In fact, back so far, he's in the sights of the very same operator who destroyed his cover. Moshizo destroys Mel, peeking behind statue, and things are starting to go back their way. Good night's Kato, not in chat. She doesn't need the ego boost. She knows how good she is. Same with GUGUDOLLS. An excellent 3v5 recovery to start things off with their first victory on Villa.
Oh my god, Moshizo! They were on a sliver of health, and the ability to find all three right there, flick after flick, was just mwah. That was amazing to see from Moshizo. We are already, I think, in for a treat to see Solus already starting out with the good night, to see that 4K, I believe, from Moshizo, or 3K, 4K, and now GUGUDOLLS. They did lose two members early on, but still, they are a strong team, and that is not going to stop them anytime soon.
Just as Sukuna are not stopped from going to trophy statuary after they lost that initial round. You had the early momentum by Solus, but GUGUDOLLS, the little control they had, were able to find kills on defenders rotating off or standing in the middle of a doorway, in the case of Kato dying to Moshizo. It was still a solid defense. It wasn't bad. It was just the defenders losing their life and getting caught out in unfortunate positions. GUGUDOLLS didn't start fully clearing out the utility until about a minute left, and they didn't have master bedroom control. Nobody's playing Astro. Nobody was pushing bathroom. So while they were started to burn the utility, there was enough time remaining where that was a good, solid defense by SUKUNA. They could start rotating members further back into sight, using those C4s. They just got caught out on those rotates. So if they're able to do that again and either rotate a bit more effectively, stall a little bit more time for GUGUDOLLS across the map, whatever it may be, they're just able to watch those angles a little bit better. That's easily a round victory, and that could be waiting.
Sukuna, definitely, I think Solus wants to once again start this round with something explosive. Not a C4, but a bullet in the head of somebody, but they're going to actually have to back off. Don't want to get too caught ahead of yourself. We saw that aggression really can be a hindrance in the terms of last matches. GUGUDOLLS winning that first round, I think, puts a dent into what Solus did a little bit, just absolutely starting it off with 2. It shows that you're going to have to do more than just get these flashy kills. You're going to have to put together a cohesive defense and strategy to counteract the great players that are GUGUDOLLS.
So far, Sukuna haven't counteracted much of anything from GUGUDOLLS just yet. Nothing different. They didn't extend into Aviator games whatsoever last time, so nothing new here either. GUGUDOLLS are taking this a little bit slower than Disrupt did. Might be as a result. They're much more thorough in their droning. You saw 3 drones all seem to coalesce right in front of that board door and all go off in their own various directions, but shows that they're taking a little bit more time, being a little bit more cautious, as opposed to just sending it on in. And sometimes working, sometimes not working for Disrupt Gaming. But now we're at the same spot where we were last time. GUGUDOLLS are here, but they have to clear out this utility. Burr will send on a drone, might find Mel's hugging the corner. Don't doubt she'll swing. She'll just continue to play passively here, bide her time, and hope that Moshizo doesn't feel kill hungry again.
Zadro goes in right now. They just still know the Kaid is there. And right now, it's just the waiting game. Somebody is eventually going to have to peek. But the thing is, Trippy has the power of time on their side and the ability to have a crossfire. Actually, I think a bullet shot that own Kaid's feet. And right now, we are going to see Moshizo push up, and they're going to find the head of Trippy. That is a gunfight. You are going to lose against Moshizo. They have such great aim, such great skill, and right now we might see another one as the Jackalpings actually go out, and that's going to indicate where Solus is. As Marmalade is going to be the member of GUGUDOLLS to be injured, and it's Moshizo, the one of GUGUDOLLS, to be taken out.
Marmalade's still on the floor. Burb, she's moving in though. Lyros, I'm not going to lie to you. This is looking like a Sukuna round.
I mean, yeah, you could say that. Right now, GUGUDOLLS, they still got a lot in them as well. You look at Goddess, you look at Demetrios. These are great members, but Solus. I think Solus really is the key here. That they are still alive, but with Goddess taking Solus out, that might be the key to opening this one up. But it's as Demetrios gets down and taken out, it's just Goddess. They have the SMG-11. They're not going to be able to really aggressively take that because of the Surrey Gate. So I think I have to agree with you, Lynx, that's Sukuna round.
Though you did come very close to being correct with that kill onto the Aruni, so don't sell yourself short. This is GUGUDOLLS after all. They play very well together. Impressive mechanical skill. Catching the Aruni off guard, excellent play. Good crosshair placement by the Sledge. But there is still a strong SUKUNA defense, or the remnants of an earlier one. Solus landing the kill there, stopping Moshizo on the entry. That was a massive play to just buy the defense a little bit more time to sit in their positions, and that's what mattered. They had the man advantage. The 3v2 eventually worked down to a 1v2 in the favor of SUKUNA. Able to pull it out. Now they've won their first defense. They've answered back 1-1. Rotate over to Aviator Games. What do you know? We're seeing that Flores that always seems to evade us. We saw it on Chile last series. It was banned on Villa subsequently. Now we'll see it on Villa this go round.
I'm very interested to see what's gonna happen when the attacking side is going to be able to swap operators in the drone phase. I'm very, very interested to see how the entire attacking side is going to change, because right now it seems that you just kind of go for general operators like Flores, Ash, Zofia. They all have explosive power. You know, it's the ability to deal with the general utility of the defense that the defenders will have. But once, you know, this new mode or new thing might come in, I forget what to call it, but we might see a lot more specialized attack play, which, you know, Flores has the ability to have explosives, but he has the ability to also get information, so you could cater your attacks more towards information, or cater it more towards an IQ, something that you know they'll have a lot of electronics. And it's kind of a rant that I'm going on, but just the Flores and the Zero kind of just reminded me of just the general utility that these attackers like to bring.
I would say that there was a fair bit of useful information in that. Flores is an operator that can, depending on the defense, it caters to very specific styles of attacks, but can effectively counter very specific styles of defense. Cozy has been sticking the Goyo 3 rounds so far, and Flores is meant to counter those shields. Sukuna have anticipated that. They've put Solus on main stairs, and the first Ortera drone is shot. Goddess still has 4 more. Go 2 more, now that she's sending a second one out, but it makes clearing out this main stairs position all that much more important. A second one set at main. Solus is not giving up this position, and now half of Goddess's utility is completely wasted. They'll finally start sending out flashes, finally start trying to push out the Jaeger, but she's not giving it up just yet. The second one shot down. We talked about the importance of the Flores, and Solus just said, no, we're good.
And then just Goddess looking up, I believe they're trying to look through the floor, and they lose that fight against Solus. Mushizo comes very, very close as well to being the second victim of Solus on the stairs, but they're going to win that out. It seems to be a little duel between Mushizo and Solus to be top fragger of the match right now. Those are the names popping up in the kill feed so much, but right now it's Bird being very, very aggressive, trying to catch somebody on the rotate, and they're going to catch Cozy out right now, and that gives the extreme advantage right now. A minute left. Air jabs going out, 0 cams as well right now. A lot of utility needs to be used by GUGUDOLLS as well as drones.
Sukuna certainly starting to face the pressure. Moshizo sees the elbow of the Maestro, sees the barrel of the gun as well, but she knows she doesn't have to play this too aggressively. While she's on 1 HP, depending on if Kato knows the position, this could be the easiest pre-fire of her life, but Moshizo is just waiting for the Maestro to rotate out, and that's a 2v4 if she's able to land the shots. She'll start to move on in, sees the head, is able to land them despite the low HP, and this is sight control for GUGUDOLLS. You start working the ways on in while Moshizo, sure, her life is gone. Marmalade is able to equalize and save the round. I don't even say save the round, just win it for her team. Started to lose a little bit with Moshizo, but it was still firmly in their hand. Marmalade just made it a reality.
And now, are Sukuna going to elect to go to the same side again? We saw that with Trophy. They went back to Trophy again, and they won it pretty definitively. And now Sukuna going back over to AVG. Are they going to be able to win it out once again? We're just seeing the same kind of general operator picks. You know, this Wamai, Jaeger, Kai with the smoke. But on the side of GUGUDOLLS, electing to bring something like the Twitch or the Nomad, and I think the Ying possibly might be a 6th pick. We're going to see. Marmalade hasn't locked in, hasn't gotten the 6th pick yet. It'd be very exciting to see something like a Ying. And actually, GUGUDOLLS, they are going to bring on over the Ying. Are we going to see something like that? Like a rush play? Are we going to see just very, very calculated flashes? I think that's up to Marmalade.
We've seen Ying get a little bit more play on maps like Oregon and also on maps like Villa as well. Very good aggression in the same category of obs that aggression just naturally comes with her, but also does bring a fair bit of utility clearance. Since there's no Jaeger on the side of Sukuna, don't have to worry about nearly as much in terms of that projectile denial. They've also switched off the Flores. Goddess is opting to go to the Twitch. I don't think the Flores was necessarily a bad pick or a problem for them overall. Just think wasted their drones a little bit. Think they could have cleared out main a little bit more effectively. Maybe got a little bit ahead of themselves with the Flores overall. But with the Ying as well, if they're trying to get aggressive, trying to interrupt Sukuna in their thought process and into their defensive posture, certainly a great op to do it. I'm not hating in any way, shape, or form. Yings are always chaotic. Yings are always fun. Not to play against, of course, but to watch.
Don't hate women, Lynx. We already have one. Don't be women hater 446, all right?
What? What?
Women
How am I getting attacked?
You can't hate on Twitch or on Ying. Ying's great.
Am I getting strawman on an official CCS stream right now? What is happening?
I'll gaslight you, Lynx. How about that?
I'm literally getting gaslit. It's only 2:30. We're only 30 seconds in. What is this?
Speaking of 30 seconds into the round already, we're seeing already the roam clear, the lack of roam, I guess, as all the members of Sukuna just hanging around in the site. Kato actually taking a fight very, very early into around the library and reinforcing already. Goddess, no fight done, no damage done to actually any member of either team. So I guess no harm, no foul when it comes to each of them. But still, Kato behind this deployable shield now is set up to try to repel any drones, any information that is really denied here.
Ironically enough, with less utility at their disposal, GUGUDOLLS were able to take main stairs control much quicker than they did last time. Sometimes Siege works out that way, and they have taken it out nonetheless. It even landed the opening pick as well. Kato rotated off, but gave herself up to one of the angles from below. Holes do work both ways. Marmalade is very aware of that fact. Solus and Demetrios will trade, so while the man advantage is in the favor of GUGUDOLLS, they've lost their Hibana. If they are able to attain 90 control, it would minimize it somewhat, so that player on Repel becomes a little bit important. Will force Cozy to rotate off, but you're not able to open up Vault, not able to open up any of the Aviator or Games walls. That gives the defense a lot more room to move than they might otherwise.
And now is the smoke canister. I think the smoke canister was actually destroyed by Goddess, who just has to run in through the Surya gate, try to get something done. And the smoke canister is both obscuring vision and dealing a ton of damage, but that's not even gonna do enough. As right now, it's just one member alive. It's Trippy Mel's who's gonna get taken out in the vault. And it's GUGUDOLLS winning once again, still in games.
Again, odd that less utility somehow translated into round of there. Even losing the Hibana, GUGUDOLLS' plan there was, all right, we'll drone them out. We'll push in a coordinated way. They weren't just solo pushing positions. They had players on bottom main pushing up. Same with players pushing from study to clear out Cattle from that position. So it wasn't a brain-dead push. There still was thought process there. Just funny that with less utility, managed to clear out the shield, clear out Cattle, then Marmalade down below finds the Wamai. At that point, GUGUDOLLS, just like in their game against Trap Queens, have shown to be incredibly effective at not losing that man advantage. They're able to all watch their angles, keep their battle buddy about 5 feet away or so, and not have to worry too much in the long run about losing progress. Now they won AVG twice. Sukuna will move back to Trophy Statuary, give this one a shot. It went okay for them in round number 2. They managed to stave off the attack, but after 2 consecutive rounds of that exact opposite thing happening for Sukuna, a bit worrying for their chances going into this one.
And now in, keeping with the mute or bringing the mute as well this time and not bringing the Jaeger instead right now, I'm just wondering whether now that Burb has brought flashes instead of recharges, does this destroy their chances even more? Because right now, GUGUDOLLS are going to have more to destroy Surya gates. They're going to have more to attract magnets. They're just going to have this even more utility to really deny anything that Sukuna brings. And honestly, Sukuna only had a shot in these first couple rounds because of Solus. Solus got a 2K the first round, 3K the second. Solus was showing up left and right. The only member of Sukuna to really make a massive difference. And right now, they've been taken out really relatively early in these rounds, haven't been able to make the impact that they did in those early rounds. And I think I don't know if it's calculated by GUGUDOLLS or rather just mistakes by Solus, mistaking, confidence for overaggression.
It's all just giving applause to Burb in the chat, by the way, for remembering to bring flashes on Nomad. It's all acknowledge progress when we see it. Sure, they're up 3-1, but it's never too late to remember. You don't bring breach charges on Nomad. She acknowledged it in chat earlier. Just wanted to shout her out for remembering to bring the proper secondary utility. And of course, they will be important. While there's no Jaeger, always want as much burn as possible when dealing with these magnets, especially in positions where they could be defending Goyo shields, could be defending any number of things on the side of the defense. We also have a mute in place, something that was banned on I believe, map number 1 of Chalet. So now we get to see that same intel denial, that same hard breach denial. You also have Marmalade on a hunt down inside a basement fighting anybody. Probably won't find a mute, but could very well find a defender if nobody's watching their backs.
Right now, it's just there hasn't been exact chaos just yet, and right now we're just waiting for, I guess, the fuse to be lit. Even though fuse is sadly not being played right now, he still have an extreme impact. Is that drone dropping right on by, giving Marmalade a nice little information boost? Is the frag grenade gonna be prepped, gonna be thrown up, and Cozy gonna get taken out? A great frag by Marmalade, as well as the combination with Moshizo, and now Astronomy is all the way on the side of GUGUDOLLS as Marmalade's going to find their second of the round, and it seems that GUGUDOLLS, the longer this goes on, the more they just seem more and more comfortable with how they're playing, and it looks effortless on their side.
That round especially, I would say your descriptor of effortless seemed very apt. Marmalade just walking, leisurely strolling, flying casually down inside a basement. Great nade from below. Not much to say beyond that. Goo Goo Dolls, they've made their way around the site. Have these angles, Sukuna peak and Sukuna fall subsequently. Even Solus, as great as she was on those trophy statuary defenses, she got a kill. Even she's not enough to stop the incoming. I don't know if I would say onslaught, because that might even be too aggressive for how Goo Goo Dolls seemed to play that. They were just kind of lackadaisically moving in, killed everyone. That was the round. That's Goo Goo Dolls' attack so far. They met some resistance in round number two, but beyond that point, they either take control later or they take control soon. But one way or another, with some amount of effort, the round is going their way.
And GUGUDOLLS, this is on their attacking side. I think our prayers have finally been answered. We are seeing an effective attack, and we might see a 5-1 at that, as we're Sukuna, they're very stubborn, still going on over this trophy, despite how, I don't want to say flawless, because it wasn't a flawless round, but GUGUDOLLS still, that they performed it so effectively that it's hard to imagine why Sukuna would want to go to the same site. Why not try over Kitchen? We haven't seen Kitchen from Sukuna this site. Is that stubbornness why we're seeing them down 4-1 is the question.
Can't blame them. If you've won one site and it's trophy statuary, I'd hold on to that one as firmly as anything else. They are doing something a little bit different. Traded out the Aruni for a bandit. Will that solve their problems? I'm not too sure, but they are extending into aviators, so Goo Goo Dolls, if they clear out Solus, it'll take more time. If they opt not to clear her out, that's a C4 that could rotate from below and potentially come back later on. I do believe it's pre-placed right now, so she can't actively throw it, but it does still give some potential to be used later on. She'll go for an early peek. Quickly swat it away like a fly. Just go back inside. 25 HP. She'll even rotate back. So she could still rotate back to that extension, but Goo Goo Dolls don't seem to be paying it much mind anyway.
I think that's good for Solus to recognize when the roamer is really not being used at all, and it's rather to help insight, information, just an extra gun to help out, especially with crossfires as well. And Sukuna needs it. Solus, as I mentioned, is really the only one to try to put any dent in the attack of GUGUDOLLS. They seem to be on the roam, on the prowl, trying to find anybody who's straying from the path. But nobody is. Anyone from GUGUDOLLS, they're a pack. They're a pack of wolves attacking Astronomy. Cozy having to back off, trying to just hide behind the shield. But the frag grenade really is not actually going to destroy it. It's going to still stay up for now. And Cozy wanting to defend the window, wanting to defend the northern side of Astro. The only thing they really have left on their side, just trying to do something to repel the absolute strong attack that the GUGUDOLLS have. And Cozy still not really doing much for their troubles, as they are going to find themselves bleeding out on the ground.
Well, she will manage to find a helping hand in Trippy Mel's, pick her back up, so it's a 5v5, and Astro control still somewhat in the favor of Sukuna. Solus is rotated down and is sitting on the Astro stairs, and not quite sure if Moshizo has the intel. She certainly does have the kill, finished off onto Cozy, but there's that big C4! 2 kills, a down as well! Her 4th overall, or at the very least in terms of impact. Moshizo did not have intel on Solus's position, and GUGUDOLLS, they did not have the wherewithal to take this round confidently. They'll trade out in the end. It was Woman Hater to down Burb, my apologies, but still a 4K for the Bandit, but only Sukuna, not Sukuna Dolls, but only Sukuna's second round against GUGUDOLLS 4.
Look, I don't want to say that Solus's back muscles are extremely strong, but that round was completely won by Solus. That double C4 and then combined with the kill onto the window, just changing everything in that. And it's still once again just Solus, 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 Solus on the side of Sukuna. And GUGUDOLLS did let up 2 rounds, but they are still in the lead going on this defensive side. And with what they have with Goddess, Marmalade, and Burb, everything that they really combined together compared to the really one woman show of Sukuna, that if you shut Solus down, that the rest of Sukuna just isn't able to compare with the entirety of GUGUDOLLS.
Now GUGUDOLLS moving to the defense. A little bit more fluidity allowed here, as you don't have everyone on the site barreling down towards you. You can start to dictate the pace. You can start to decide how you want to take this and almost influence how Sukuna could potentially respond. No deployable shield, so we won't see the main stairs hold that Sukuna brought out as a staple of their defense. We don't have a Goya, but we don't even have a normal deployable shield. We will have some ADSs, so Marmalade or Goddess might very well play in that position, but they won't be getting too aggro, and they certainly don't have a home base to retreat to on top of those main stairs. As soon as they face some pressure here, they'll likely have to rotate all the way back to the site, unless they're able also to withstand that study pressure.
And Sukuna, as a unit, really trying to go for that master side, wanting to effectively clear out. And there's going to be no real roamers on the side of GUGUDOLLS. We'd only see just Marmalade on the stairs, assisted by a couple ADSs. Otherwise, it's just the home site home. And I think that might help them in the end, because Sukuna is being very, very efficient with how they're clearing out the site, but still it's Solus leading the charge, and if they can catch Solus off guard, somebody just peeks when Solus is not expecting it, then they can just take them out and feel like a weight has been lifted off of their own backs after they take down Solus. But still, just the drones coming out, Marmalade just hanging out in study, trying to find an off angle onto landing. We might see an engagement happen anytime soon between those two.
At this point, GUGUDOLLS have realized that the push from main stairs is simply not manifesting. It's not happening. Rotate over, hold some angles in the study. Marmalade will even open up the door, potentially try. I wouldn't say go for a peek, but just to gain some intel in case anybody, or likely when somebody rotates over to study. Never mind. Should barricade it back up. Forget what I said. Do have Moshizo, though, playing down below. Prepping that window. In all likelihood, Cozy will hear that. She is not deaf after all. She will blow a C4 to cover the rotate back. And this is 90 control in the favor of Sukuna. They do have the hard breaching still alive. That's Kato with those X-Kairos. We saw that when GUGUDOLLS lost it, it didn't really stop them all that much. Now with the opening pick, that's Woman Hater with the first kill, a nade through the floor onto Goddess. Sukuna able to rotate over, get these Hibana pellets. That's already, in terms of utility, better than GUGUDOLLS had it.
And with Goddess down as well, it's C4, so you've only got the one in Burbchan, and now as Moshizo has taken out Solus, somebody's got to step up, and right now it is Woman Hater as Cozy finds one of their own. And now as Marmalade puts down that diffuser, Moshizo continues their streak as well. It's a 2v2 going into this as Cozy takes some chip damage, and it's just Marmalade left. They have the pistol all the way in study. Don't know if they just have not reloaded or they're out of ammunition, but Cozy is going to start, and they are going to put down that diffuser's. Woman is just watching from that library side. And actually, Marmalade could have pushed up. They could have gotten a great kill onto Cozy, but sadly, they're just going to have to dry peek. No, with no information. Actually, Cozy did not get that diffuser down. That could be a huge hindrance. That rotate coming out on through. The reload coming through. 10 seconds left. Cozy should put down that diffuser. And now Marmalade just has about 40 seconds left to get somebody through the wall. It is Cozy. And it's just Woman versus Marmalade. The 1v1 to decide if GUGUDOLLS is going to continue their dominant streak, whether Sukuna is going to slowly chip away at this lead. Marmalade pushing up through games, going behind the bar, knowing that somebody probably is watching through that hole, and they're going to pre-fire, and they're sadly going to stop right as Woman pushes on around. And there we go, Sukuna winning that one out on a very, very close 1v2.
That was very well played by Marm in that 1v2, able to... She didn't bait out the plant, would bait out the rotate, force Cozy to move all the way to bar, then able to land that kill through the wall. But on the flip side, very well played by Woman Hater. Obviously carrying through on her namesake in that round, clutching a 1v1, getting a 3K. Like to see some follow through, I suppose. Good on you, Meg. But that was still well played by her in the 1v1. Let the bomb go down, was able to succeed in the coverage. There was a little bit of a gap early on when Marmalade was starting in study, but Meg started to rotate over and is able to cut her off, is able to wait things out. And once Cozy got the plant down, she played back, let Marmalade peek, and once the Jaeger switched to the pistol, wasn't much she could do after that.
And it's just seeing the crosshair directed onto the sledge's head, and that's the exact moment that Marm stopped shooting. It was very crushing to witness. And it once again, it's just it's how she goes. We obviously are witnesses to the unfortunate timing that happens sometimes in this game. Is that really dictated the last couple rounds of last match, and it really is no different when it comes to this one. Is right now going back on over to the same site, GUGUDOLLS. They still looked like they could have won that round, obviously, with that 1v2. But when it comes to as a whole, they have the better of GUGUDOLLS. They were able to even things up despite SUKUNA having that 5v3 advantage like we saw in those earlier rounds. Just weren't able to finish it off.
Now moving here for the defense. Same setup coming out from GUGUDOLLS. No changes in the site. No real changes in the lineup either. Goddess will move from the Melusi to the smoke, so still some time wasting. You also have that deployable shield as well. I don't actually know where she put it. She put it inside of 90. I don't see it on main, so guessing somewhere inside of 90. But either way, you do still have that deployable shield that allows to play behind. Since the push from SUKUNA did come inside of 90, it allows further congestion of that point as well. Bringing it as close as it was a solid setup from GUGUDOLLS. I think that might just be the adjustment they need. Combined with these Wamais, the opening pick as well from Burb, getting aggressive, picking off Solus on that solo entry into Statue. I mean, Light Rose, you talked about the possible impact of it last time. There it is right there.
And it's just I don't understand why Solus is doing that. Obviously, GUGUDOLLS knew that Solus was being extremely aggressive and took advantage of that 100%. And Bird literally walked up, shot, walked back like it was absolutely nothing. It was routine. And that is something that you absolutely need to avoid, especially as an entry. And when your entry is really doing in the work like Solus does, you need a change of pace right now for Solus. And I think somebody we talked about women really making up for the lack of Solus, but still Cozy on the Ash, destroying the utility. The R4C did get a very, very big kick. Is jumping out in the window. That is going to be Moshizo. The aggression, I guess, on both ends really coming out as a hindrance. As both the top fraggers on each going down.
Sometimes what happens when you go for that library vault, if they're expecting it or at the very least weary of it, like that Ash clearly was, it's difficult to come away with, even though Repel, taking gunfights while you're on Repel can sometimes be tricky to deal with. SUKUNA, they've acquired the same bit of control. Opened up vault, frag grenade goes in, Woman Hater uses both of them, doesn't find a kill like she did last time. So while you do have that refrag, that very late refrag onto Moshizo, that was a player who, while she was downstairs, she wasn't going to have the most impact unless she used that C4. Now we're reaching a point where SUKUNA is starting to run away with it. She's taking down Burb. That was the other player with the C4. So your only form of plant denial is Goddess on the smoke, who, while playing behind Longbar, not as precise these smokes are as they used to be. So you're still heavily relying on Marmalade and Demetrios to deny the push in. Both work. Marmalade doing the most so far. Drop the fuser inside a vault. Woman Hater has to clutch up once again. Marmalade, the person who she won against last time, she'll be the first person she exchanges bullets with, but it's Goddess in the end to take off her head and to take the round for GUGUDOLLS.
Both these teams really like going back to the same site, and if history should repeat itself, we should see SUKUNA win this round and then GUGUDOLLS go back. But that's the thing, is GUGUDOLLS have the advantage of one round. So if we see, they lose a round, win a round, lose a round, win a round, GUGUDOLLS come out on the winning end of that. And if we go over to Trophy Statuary with the Kaid in play, that's going to be extremely hard because the Jaeger with the Wamai, there's going to be a lot of things that SUKUNA need to go for. And I'm looking for the Zofia Impact, the Sledge, frag grenades, something like that, just to try to get through that wall that Burb is really going. And Moshizo actually on the Oryx, those hatches looking mighty tasty, I have to say.
You don't have the C4, the intel denial of the Mozzie, but if you're looking at roaming around and being a nuisance, I suppose Oryx is the perfect op for you. are losing out on that utility, which is useful on the Mozzie. On top of that, while you gain some intel and proxies, losing the C4, the intel denial, it's a little bit of a gamble, not only giving that up, but replacing him with an Oryx. That being said, as you said, the mobility on Oryx is staggering. Able to break through walls, climb up hatches. There's a lot of potential for him to work with, and if she's just focusing on conducting hit and runs against the attack, then sure, that's your perfect bet. But that's always the risk with bringing ops like that. Not in what you bring, but what you're losing when you pick them.
Obviously, we can only really see if bringing Oryx is going to be worth it in the long run, and Kato as well, bringing the Thermite. Actually, we don't really see much Thermite compared on Villa because that ranged hard breach is just so effective. So Habana taking a bench right now, taking a seat on the bench for Thermite, who actually is not bringing smokes, bringing flashes. So I guess I don't know if that's a little bit of a burb moment. But Flash is obviously still impactful, but Thermite receiving those smokes from Ace, trying to boost his pick rate a little bit. But Solus right now, once again, still a member trying to get that entry, trying to make sure that members are really free to jump in on this site. But with that hatch open, Moshizo is still just the one person that I am just hoping that we see a little bit of a sneaky play from.
Well, as long as Sukuna doesn't drone out basement, the potential for a sneaky play from Moshizo will grow higher and higher every 30 seconds to a minute that passes. Burb also playing aggressive on Study Door. The moment she's droned out, she'll cut her losses and rotate back. Woman Hater sends a nade on over, and it will destroy the Electric Claw. So Kato should be able to use that exothermic, or at least I believe it did. Actually, did it? No, it did not, in fact. Burb still has one in her pocket, so with a nade wasted, they'll have to destroy this second one, and the timing is crucial here. If Woman Hater is able to destroy it, which she is, that's the play that needed to happen. Sola swings in, finds Burb, and no K-Trick today. That wall is getting open.
Demetrius so close to finding one of their own, but with Burb down, really lose a key member inside the site. Somebody's going to have to go up those Astro Stairs to find something, and oh my! What did I just witness? Solus, what an amazing flick, as now Goddess gets taken down as well as Solus finally going down. Burb, would you like to do the honors of roasting Burb?
I wasn't gonna roast Burb. She was in a blender there. She got put on a t-shirt.
Yeah, that was like posted by Solus.
She had nades coming over. She had flashes coming over. What the hell else was she supposed to do? She couldn't even rotate down because one of her 5 senses was taken away. Burb, as far as I'm concerned, you were a dead man the moment you rotated to that wall. Not on you. Sukuna just played that well.
Accept your death. Omai Wamu.
As with that overall round, that was very well played by Sukuna. Struggled a little bit on that wall, but Solus going on in, watching the pinch from watching the rotate from Burb, or Burb giving herself away. Again, Burb, unintentionally. That's exactly what they needed. Taking out the C4, and then at that point, once they've opened the wall, everyone on the site seemed almost stun-locked. Taken down one by Sukuna. Overall, fairly quick round once they got that wall open.
And now going once again on over to Trophy, and if my clock is at least right twice a day, then GUGUDOLLS should hopefully be able to secure a victory in this round. But right now, Solus getting 14 kills on the board. Would you like to see them get a 20 bomb on this one? With how they have played so far in this match, they look like they absolutely hit a 20 bomb in this.
I would certainly like to see it. Especially since, well, I don't be mean. We do have James Bond in the lobby.
I mean, 070 is not James Bond.
Trippy Mel's got a license to kill, but unfortunately, MI6 gave it to a pacifist.
Yeah. No assists, no kills, just nice little information, which...
Long as she's getting those air jabs down, she's good in my book.
We love you, Trippy, despite not really showing up in the kill feed. It's heart that matters. Swear that's not super corny.
It's fine. I won't blame you for it. Solus and Cozy, making their way on through kitchen and dining. Moshizo, once again, ratting out inside of basement. This time, she's decided, you know what? That intel denial in C4, I think that's worth it. And you know what? She's rewarded for her efforts. Sometimes fate reaches down a hand and gifts you something. In that case, not only did it give Moshizo the opening pick onto the Zofia, but also Solus, that very player we were highlighting with the potential to reach 20 kills. None for her this round.
Yeah, and right now, as Cozy going in, they really have shown up these last couple rounds with Solus kind of, in these couple rounds, they haven't gotten, barring last round, they've been possibly the opening death on each of those other rounds. So really just, it's on to Woman Hater 445, Cozy. Those two have been really the replacement, I guess, if Solus has bit the bullet. But right now with Moshizo, the C4 not getting much, they're going to rotate all the way up in Astral Stairs. They want to make sure that somebody is on those bathrooms. Marmalade is going to be using those first smoke canisters, and the wall is open as well. Right now, Sukuna, this is where it all went right beforehand. The question is, will history repeat itself, especially as Demetrios takes out Kato, along with those flashes, diffuser, everything down on the floor?
Still plenty at the disposal for Sukuna. That wall open, while they are in the disadvantage when it comes to man count. Okay, well, now things have, I think, gone beyond the pale. Moshizo's able to find Cozy. While they have recovered diffuser, with 4 members on the site, Burb now rotated down below watching a hole. It would require a throw from GUGUDOLLS at this point to stave off match point for Sukuna. Demetrios swings Woman Hater. It's now Trippy Mel's. She got 1 kill at the very least. 007 no longer her name, but all she's got is the 1. It's Burb C4s from below. GUGUDOLLS have 6 rounds, and if they get 1 more, they're on to map 2.
Right now, GUGUDOLLS, the question is, what site are they going to go to? I think it probably should be Aviator Games. I mean, Dining Kitchen. We have not seen one Dining Kitchen site this entire match. Somehow, we've gone 10 rounds without seeing a third bomb site. And that's just kind of sometimes how Villa goes. You opt to rather retry the same site than Dining Kitchen. That's just the difference in the strengths of the sites. So, still bringing the same on both sides. The Thermite, the Kaid, everything just same old, but once again, how are we going to see the difference in these two teams? In strategy, Moshizo still on the Oryx, which we saw before didn't get too much of a difference compared to the Mozzie. We obviously can't compare the loss, but the Oryx, his gadget, did not really make a difference before.
Not all that much. Then again, the C4 didn't make too much of a difference overall. We don't know the exact impact of those Mozzie pests, but Moshizo's feeling the Oryx. Who am I to judge if she is feeling the Oryx? Might be a little bit better on this site. You have the study hatch you could rotate back up. Of course, you also have the master bedroom hatch to rotate back up. So, really, if she's just bringing this for the T5, 1.5, you live your life, live your truth. I'm not going to complain. Because overall, the utility on the side of GUGUDOLLS is still solid. While you are missing out on that, the Kate Electroclaw is still intact. Sukuna have shown, while they're able to get the wall open, it certainly takes them a fair bit of time to do so. This 90 hold was also solid from GUGUDOLLS overall. While my playing behind that deployable shield was that second AVG round, they did end up winning with the adjustments that they made in switching Goddess to that smoke. So while you do lose out a bit on that Oryx once again, the utility that was the most impactful for GUGUDOLLS is still there.
Mozzie is a good operator, but Oryx goes zoom, Lynx.
My bad, you're right.
Oryx goes zoom, and that's I think the important thing to really point out here. Just getting
not gonna disagree.
This one. I mean, yeah, that's why you pick him. Obviously, you just love to zoom around the map. You've got that T5 with the 1.5. And, I mean, Moshizo has a KD of 2, so I don't really think we should disagree with what they're doing because it obviously seems to be working.
Well, except the Oryx.
I mean, but that's still working out here. I think if GUGUDOLLS are able to clean this one out, they're able to repel Sukuna and shutting down Solus, which Marmalade is going to take that fresh on. And Solus actually find him a great angle by Burb. You look at that through the hole, and I don't know if that was planned, but a great job by shutting down Solus as well. And right now it is still a 4v4 even count as Moshizo's looking at that hatch, trying to wonder if it is worth it to hop on up, because we do see that Cozy is on up there, waiting, droning out, but still, Moshizo has the ability to jump the hatch, but they are gambling a lot if they do so.
And Moshizo would likely die, but Sukuna's attack overall seems like it is slowly choking and gasping for air. They're pushing in through studies, so they have hope at opening these walls, and they've made progress on main stairs as well, but once again, an entire side of the map is left uncontested by the attack. This will allow Goddess to rotate out for free and shut down Cozy, waste her on books, and now that's main advantage for GUGUDOLLS. They've opened up the wall, and they've evened it out, punished Demetrios, or at the very least, caught her staring wide open. And now with Burb as well, this is a lot more winnable. Goddess is there to stop the push on in. She'll rotate back on out. And now that nobody's still rotated 90. Moshizo can move up for free. It's on Trippy Mells once again to stop GUGUDOLLS from taking Sukuna's map pick. Or sorry, from taking their own map pick. Trippy Mells is in the sight. She has Diffuser, but Goddess clearly knows her position. She smoked off the doorway, playing close with the shotgun. Even if she swings, Trippy Mells is all likely a dead woman walking. She'll peek around the corner. Not even ADS. No shotgun necessary. The SMG-11 to seal her fate. Map 1 in the books. Move to Chalet, which is where GUGUDOLLS saw some trouble. If they're able to take Sukuna's 7-3 victory and their 7-3 victory last week and completely wipe that away, Chalet is not looking too bad as a map number 2.
I mean, I guess in the end, the Ego Challenge, it did work out. We're seeing a 7-4 coming out there with a great performance by Solus and 3 members, actually, of GUGUDOLLS hitting that double-digit margin. So I think overall, GUGUDOLLS looked pretty good on that map. There were obviously a couple times where, they fell apart and just allowed Sukuna to take these rounds and allowed Solus to really absolutely work her magic, but in the end, it's a 7-4 victory. It's a cohesive victory. It's not an absolute stomp. It's not a nail biter. It's a good win.
It is indeed a good win. If they just get one more of those, it'd be our second 2-0 of the day, and they would move on forward in the upper bracket to face Disrupt. But we're not there yet. We do still have one map, and potentially map 3 if Sukuna can get their act together. Take a quick 5-minute break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
star has no roots to hold it, no living, lonely entity to lose. To and fro it floats in the light of the sky like a water lily, and fades on the blue flood of day. A star is adrift and free. When day comes, it floats into space.
Welcome back, everybody. We are currently on map number 2, deciding who is our second team to punch their ticket to the upper bracket finals. GUGUDOLLS took map number 1 of Villa, their pick, 7-4. Now I move to Chalet, decide who's going to pull it out. Now, Rose, after we've seen Villa, what are your thoughts going into Chalet? How do you think this might pan out?
Hey, it's gonna be really hard for Sukuna to come back this, because the only reason that we saw anything from Sukuna that match was due to probably one person only, and that was Solus. The few rounds that Sukuna got, we saw 2Ks, 3Ks, 4Ks by Solus, and they were kept propping up the rest of Sukuna. And meanwhile, GUGUDOLLS, yes, they did have Moshizo go gain number after number, but then you also had somebody like Goddess, you had Marmalade, Verb, really to back up the members. If Moshizo went down, there was really no reason to panic, because you could tell that the other members of GUGUDOLLS could absolutely step up. So it's just the one-man army versus the leader, I guess, is the kind of difference between these two teams right now.
There were some performers on the side of Sukuna. You had Cozy, you had Woman Hater, but their performance was too inconsistent to overall string enough consistent round wins for Sukuna. But we're getting to map 2 of Chalet. Sukuna starting on the attack, GUGUDOLLS on the defense. We're just a couple weeks prior. GUGUDOLLS they lost this map, won the series, but did lose this map 7-5 to Trap Queens. So going forward for Sukuna, they're able to watch some VODs, see where they falter, and at the very least, after map 1, not a terrible map to go to with the history in mind.
Yeah, but I think this is definitely GUGUDOLLS. They have the ability to show off what they've learned, because it has been a little bit since then, obviously, teams practice. And Sledge, GUGUDOLLS, you see, Woman Hater 445.
That's just rude.
Target ban right now. Wrong chat. She is.
Of all the players Woman Hater Meg, she had an okay game. I don't know if it's worthy of a target ban, but
Goddess with the evil smile in chat.
Seems rude.
It's personal now.
Hey, Meg might go nuclear after that one. Banning out Sledge, that's just might be scary. Thatcher, next ban up. One thing I will say, we haven't had a hard breach ban on Chalet, so that opens up a few new options that might otherwise not be there. You do still have the Thatcher, so you have to cut through that utility. Miragon as well, no big surprise there. Wouldn't be surprised if, while Valk is likely the top contender for the final ban, banning out a shield op wouldn't also be unheard of. Sukuna seem to rely a lot on Goyo on their Villa defenses. That's another operator that can be strong on Chalet if allowed to stay up. Could hurt them if they decide to ban it. There you go. GUGUDOLLS opting to ban out that Goyo. That will hurt Sukuna when it comes to their defensive half.
Yeah, and with GUGUDOLLS starting on defense, they could also possibly utilize a Valkyrie now, because she is in play. I don't know if they'll elect to, lose one of their consistent strats, because obviously a lot of these strategies are probably with a Valkyrie ban in play because of how often she is banned. And you already see Trippy bring out that IQ because Valkyrie is still in play. You just want to have that in your back pocket saying, Valkyrie, she has the possibility, so let's bring the IQ. And yep, you can see with the reveal phase, both these teams know they have some sort of crazy mind in play with the IQ, with the Valkyrie, yada yada. Those two are counters to each other somewhat.
Even possible last second six pick. No, she'll stick the Valkyrie. Even with the IQ, while those black guys can get taken out, there is still the potential for intel, whereas you're six picking off. Could bring some good utility, but there is still potential in the black guys from Moshizo. You're also able to take out Mel's early on. Won't matter that much. They'll have to go hunting either way. It just depends on how expeditious the process is. Bar Gaming, it's a site we didn't see all that much in the first bout of Chalet today, in our first series of Disrupt Gaming versus SH. But we're seeing it. First site here. Brought by GUGUDOLLS. This was a site that worked fairly well for them in their series against Trap Queens, holding inside of pillars. We saw Marmalade have some success in this position. I believe she was playing Jaeger instead of Wamai for a lot of that. Still both powerful operators. Combined with the Valkyrie, if those Valcams are able to stay alive, will make playing that position a lot easier with the intel at your disposal.
Yeah, the Valkyrie cam is going to be very, very important for Moshizo, and especially because Trippy, you still have to bring out the IQ scanner to shut down the Valkyrie cameras, and if Moshizo places them, carefully enough in spots that you really wouldn't expect, then there's really no way for Trippy to counter them if you don't bring up the IQ scanner. Oh, and Bird placing them a little late. And with how aggressive Solus is, if Solus actually tried to go for the window, we could have had a very, very early pick. But still, pushing on forward, it's just Marmalade who's being the really aggressive roam on this defensive side. As the drone's going to spot them, they're just going to have to back up all the way into Piano. And they might meet a friendly little face named Solus.
Solus somehow did not come away with that, and in fact, she's just completely shut down. Solus moving on in. Marmalade hits the question mark, and I'm thinking the same thing. They're either unlucky timing, not looking the right way, but Solus seemed to have that one in the bag, and now a powerful player and a powerful operator are able to escape the pillars. Only minutes burned off the clock, but now she can use those magnets, support the hold on Library Stairs. In fact, that's where she rotates. Behind that shield, even on 1 HP, this is still such a powerful spot. Shadow sending out, or putting out an exothermic on that wall will open it up. Marmalade shall face a lot of pressure, and she'll even rotate a bit further down, losing that Sophia early on. We already talked about how powerful the Goyo was, hurting Sukuna's potential defensive utility. That was the most powerful punch to Sukuna's attacking utility.
Yeah, now with Moshizo hanging around there as well, with Goddess being the sneaky little flank, Goddess gonna deal a little bit of damage to Woman Hater. Right now, it's just a fight for Library Hallway. It's just who is going to take control and win it out in the end. GUGUDOLLS actually have time. They still have an advantage when it comes to these things. And they just overall seem to be in control of the tempo of the round, which is extremely important as well. You just see Legion Mines going over and over again, stacking up, just to see if anybody tries to go on a sneaky little flank, just like Marmalade did before. And right now, Sukuna trying to get something done as well, go for a rotate, but still, they have to get rid of members of GUGUDOLLS and then attack the site. You can't put the cart before the horse here, and right now you're trying to shove both the cart and the horse all the way to the destination by your own beefy self, and it's not going to work out. As GUGUDOLLS right now 3v2 still, with Kato and Tripping Mills left, but not looking achievable right now for Sukuna.
Down an exothermic to try to open up the hatch. The only avenue into the site, the only realistic one at this point for success. Marmalade holding a long angle, likely be the one to find this final kill as Demetrios takes down Kato. There it is, the refrag coming through. Burb gives up her life, but it feeds Marmalade her third kill of the round. A solid first round from GUGUDOLLS, a defensive hold that, thanks to some missed shots by Solus, was able to remain firmly in position, firmly solid. Then that flank watch, that intel, seemed to be lacking to nail down Marmalade. Of course, not entirely their fault. There was a lot going on that Sukuna had to track, but it's those recurring themes that seem to be ever present in map number 2 so far.
And now that Valkyrie still obviously had a play, not even just the Valkyrie cameras. We didn't see exactly how the Valkyrie cam has had a looming presence over that round, but still the Valkyrie with the MPX, it's got low recoil, it's got the angled grip, it's such a snappy little gun that if you put it in Moshizo's hands, it is just an absolute destruction machine. And we saw that last round. We did see a couple kills come out from Moshizo, but it's really Marmalade who really took all the blunt, all the kills, getting 3 of them actually in their back pocket. As right now GUGUDOLLS, they want to push this all the way to the end to, really repel any naysayers who looked back at their last Chalet one and said, hey, GUGUDOLLS might not be the best on Chalet, but we still got a long way to go against Sukuna. And we saw that Sukuna really was able to come back here on a couple of their attacking rounds. So long more siege to go.
Still quite a ways away. That is, unless GUGUDOLLS are able to somehow 7-0 Sukuna, which I don't see happening, but I don't see many teams getting 7-0'd, and yet they do sometimes. I wouldn't say that round at all enough to indicate a precedent. What is indicated is that despite the Valkyrie being in play and even the Mute, they're still holding this at least somewhat similarly. No deployable shield, so you don't have that same spot on piano, which will make holding really the entire area, black wall, piano, even some semblance of into library hall as well. It'll make it a little bit more difficult, but still not impossible with what is in the hands of the defense. Moshizo playing down below can go for some C4s if Sukuna start to hit the side a little too early. Marmalade as well. We saw her rotate down below without a C4 with one in her hands. It could go her way. I don't know if that drone actually spotted Moshizo playing inside the bush. A leaf obscures our view, but clearly not enough to obscure Moshizo's. Finds the head of Cozy. Diana taken down. Marmalade's been misdroned as well. A complete intel failure on the side of Sukuna that could absolutely demolish their chances of winning this round.
You can just see Moshizo hucking in a black eye for good measures. Marmalade finally getting caught out, and they can just run all the way, really get caught out for nothing. And all of a sudden, Solus getting very, very low, trying to find something in the ways of just shutting down Burb. Is Burb actually, that is a person on the ground, as Solus is able to, regardless of health, able to find that as the person. That's Moshizo as well. The C4 peeking with that is not going to be an agreeable decision, as right now, Sukuna, a couple questionable decisions coming out from GUGUDOLLS. They should be able to hopefully ride these mistakes all the way, as right now Marmalade hucking a C4 down the stairs. Now the position given away is a great shot by Kato.
Fortunate for Marmalade, thought somebody was playing lower on Solarium, when in fact they had already made their way up and they were prepared to deal with her the moment she peeked out of bathroom. Demetrios, likely known in this position, the moment she fired some shots out bedroom window, could be a very easy pre-fire. They do have intel on the position of the ace, and as he comes on in, he's the first to fall, but there's Woman Hater with the refrag. No sledge necessary. Switch to the buck and hasn't missed a step in round number 2. It's just got us in a clutch situation. We've seen her win these out before. Left to pick up the pieces for her team, but Sukuna and Solus, the big player for map number 2, is there to shut down her chances and to prop up their first victory, evening at 1-1.
Yeah, so this definitely is not going to be a complete stomp on the side of GUGUDOLLS, but at second floor, you saw a couple, like I mentioned, questionable decision on the side of GUGUDOLLS with the not being able to finish off the kill with Burb, a little bit of a standoff between them and Solus. Moshizo peeking with a C4. And so it's just these things that you don't exactly expect on the side of GUGUDOLLS, but it is one round. We're going back on over to master bedroom and office, and it's time bringing that Mute as well. So little bit of a difference on the side of GUGUDOLLS, that's still keeping kind of with the same lineup that they've bring in, along with that Aruni of Goddess as well.
The side as well, moving back to office. Have made that adjustment. I think it's a solid one overall. You still don't have that deployable shield, as Burb is sticking with the bulletproof camera. I don't want to say that's a mistake, though she did have the snafu with the Nomad earlier in map 1, the breach charge instead of flashes. Could bring a deployable shield, opting not to. Those Aruni gates will, even without that shield, give you some more burn. This is often seen on this site. But for GUGUDOLLS in that round, a lot of the potential success came from the play downstairs. Even, in all likelihood, SUKUNA will drone that out more thoroughly this time. If they're able to survive and able to hold down the fort for a little while longer, they might be playing their lives, but it will waste a lot of time and allow GUGUDOLLS to rotate their, either utility or their positioning to counter the attack once it comes in from Solarium, as there's not a lot of room over there. If GUGUDOLLS are even able to take down one or waste some time on the Solarium push, that could do well for GUGUDOLLS' overall chances.
I mean, yeah, you look at what they're stacking over there. We see Goddess all the way in Trophy, Moshizo hopping down there as well. They're really dedicating a lot over here with utility, with woman count, and just a lot trying to repel this, because they know, obviously, Sukuna is going to be coming from here. So Kato breaking open that window. We see the C4, I think, could be really, really big for Moshizo here. They're going to be throwing that out. He's going to do no damage to anybody, but I think it might scare them possibly away, but still seeing going on forward. Cozy's going to take a lot of damage from the bullets of Goddess, who's going to go on over right beside those display cases. He's going to be trying to get a rotate and a fancy little kill to start this one off.
Nobody spotted her just yet. She's still not opting to get aggressive. Knows there's two people playing outside that window, and she'll hit the prone the moment that Yana drone goes on in. No intel found, but just at the final second, they'll spot not only the Valkyrie coming down Solarium stairs, but the Aruni as well. Still Marmalade to come away with the opening pick. Solus, that big player, minimized once again, countered, and that tip of the spear, it clatters to the floor. Won't stop their push in. Woman Hater will take up the mantle of downstairs, echoing Disrupt from series number 1. Kato will find Marmalade. Evening it. C4 down below. Do still have Moshizo and Goddess as well, both holding down the fort as the frag grenade goes on in. It doesn't punish Goddess from not only continuing her reign, but it also doesn't answer back for the kill she managed to acquire. And yet she somehow, thank the Lord, almost gets away, but she does not get away with it. Woman Hater recovers, but there's still one player in the wind inside of Kitchen.
It feels like it feels almost like Goddess was kind of playing with her food there, just hopping in and out, saying, you can't hit me. But luckily, I think Woman Hater finishing that one off. And now just Kato shouldn't have a great option to really finish this one out, because Moshizo getting the 2K there. Shots fired, and still finishing that one off with GUGUDOLLS going up 2-1 still. It's that lose a round, win a round, lose a round, win a round.
And that hold down below, that hold down below either way seemed to be what GUGUDOLLS needed. A much more concentrated defense of that first floor instead of the site was second floor. Much more concentrated hold of that first floor. SUKUNA, since the entire push came from Solarium, unless they wanted to completely change their attacking strategy, they have to clear that out. There's 2 C4s down below and a third player as well. They could try to hit the site, but from the way they're taking, not an option. You have to clear it out. And when they try to, they manage to gain the intel, but not before GUGUDOLLS are able to dispatch a few key members of the attack. And despite Woman Hater's best efforts, Moshizo able to land a 3K as the final 3 kills of the round. Once you've reached a point where your entire downstairs clear has succeeded, but at the cost of 3 members of the attack, there's not much you can do to pull it back from the brink.
I think, the bar gaming, I want to see Solus not have what happened last time. Because what we saw in the first round was not last round or first round caliber. That, losing that gunfight out against the Wamai, that was really, really important, because that allowed the Wamai to stay on those library stairs. It allowed for just more magnets to accumulate, and the rest members of GUGUDOLLS to really help out the Wamai as well. So aggressiveness from Solus really has been toned down a lot, and I don't know if that's for the better, honestly. It's because SUKUNA was so reliant on Solus. If that's taken away, what do you have left?
That was part of the issue on the attack, though. Sometimes she would be the first person in the door to try and aggress against GUGUDOLLS, and she'd get shut down. And at that point, SUKUNA would make progress, but much less than, in all likelihood, if Solus was still alive. And when she's on an operator like Zofia as well, losing those impacts and those concussions, that can hurt you, even though you have utility to try and make this work with as well. There's also something to be said for the lack of a sledge. Without that second set of nades, you're really only left with the Yana because of SUKUNA's not only dedication to running this IQ, but dedication to running the buck as well. Now you've lost the Yana, that set of nades gone, Moshizo running rampant over the attack in these past couple rounds. SUKUNA, what they're opting to bring in that buck and that IQ, that sledge ban coming in full effect, it's hurting their utility. So when they even lose one member, it hurts them so much in the mid-round.
And even that, you saw the drone, which diverted the attention of Moshizo, and then Moshizo is still able to get the drone and the Yana in the same spray. And that's just showing you how good a player Moshizo is, that in these high-pressure situations, they still come out on top somehow with a decent amount of health left, about 30-35, which still can give you 1 or 2 bullets and can help in certain gunfights. And it's hard to compare with that with Solus, because you just don't have the members to back you up. Right now, the drone's going to give away a little bit of information for Solus, and that's going to be very, very important, because you want to open up these lines of sight to shut down these people who are on these library stairs, on these main entrance stairs. It's being extremely important, because now we're once again at that threshold, the crossfire that we saw in the first round, that SUKUNA had no trouble. And there we go, those Valkyrie cameras just giving away those information, and now it's just not looking good for the rest of SUKUNA.
Even with the IQ, sometimes that intel is still ever present for Gugudolls, still alive, still capable of influencing the round. C4 goes out, so no influence there. For 40 seconds, the fact that Marmalade and Goddess have not been pushed off their positions, this is a difficult situation for SUKUNA to overcome. 2 deployable shields, 2 players playing behind them that have shown that they can power up when left in these positions. Kata will swing on in, but it's Solus to be the first to fall in this engagement. On the floor, able to be picked back up, but nearly not enough time to pick her back up off the floor. So now you're left with Kato, Mel's, and Woman Hater. Make that Kato and Mel's. Make that probably just Mel's, depending on how this goes, to pick up the pieces. And they don't even find a piece of the puzzle to make work. A flawless round for Gugudolls in what seems to be a half that is completely in their control.
Yeah, and now as we're going on to continuing on, basement. We're going to touch basement for the first time in this site. And now we're going to see whether SUKUNA is going to have really the attacking capabilities to level up with the worst defender site, of the core that we usually see. So this is once again the best shot that they have, still bringing the buck, not opting for the sledge. We usually could bring those frag grenades, still have that vertical destruction instead of upside down. Usually that buck is something able to bring, but the IQ, we saw Valkyrie cameras were still able to be played. IQ was in, and still nothing. And I think that Trippy Mills is just not getting the value out of the IQ. Not finding Valkyrie cameras, not doing anything that would influence the round, so you could probably gravitate to something else instead of the IQ that would help overall.
Still always that question. That's why teams often bring IQ, is they don't want to possibly leave those Valk cams up, because at least with the IQ scanner, you have a better chance to find them, but you are correct. You're losing a lot by bringing that IQ and bringing this buck. While you do have burn on one of them, you're sticking the Claymore on the other. That could help find a rotating defender, but you're still bringing less utility than you could otherwise. For this site specifically, buck is solid. Of course, you have to take main lobby, hold down pressure. It can be difficult using vertical in that space. But if we are looking at a bright side, Gugudolls tried basement a couple times against Trap Queens, and they lost it the majority of the time. They don't want to go kitchen and dining. That much is clear. This was still a site that Trap Queens were able to win, and that Gugudolls had some struggle defending. If Moshizo was able to just run roughshot all over them on the roam, it might not matter. But for SUKUNA, if they've done their homework and they know the flaws in this site, they can exploit them.
Yeah, but this is not Trap Queen. This is SUKUNA, and I think Gugudolls realized Moshizo and the missed drone as well, just realizing that now Moshizo is absolutely free to reign. And I think Cozy going farther away as they hop on their drone as Moshizo wants to get something, but I still don't think that drone actually caught Moshizo. And as Burb is going down still, there is somebody behind SUKUNA really need to worry about. Yes, you got rid of the Frost, but there's someone much more important that is going to be in your back, and that is Moshizo. And both of them, along with Goddess, find one, and suddenly Gugudolls, even though they had the advantage, there we go, Valkyrie Kama, not even the IQ was able to find that. It was just a regular person. It's just a struggle in all senses for SUKUNA right now.
Struggling once again to find that intel, the motif of today, and it doesn't seem to stop anytime soon. Neither do the kills for SUKUNA. If we're, again, looking for another upside in this, you can add Gugudolls' checkered history with an even man count for SUKUNA. Vertical control as well. Now that Moshizo has vacated the top floor, there's potential to go for a plan here. You don't need all that much. If you have the vert, if you're able to open up that red wall and have someone hold the bottom of West Main, that doorway at the front of the site, you can make it work. You just have to be wary. Have to keep an eye on the site, because if you don't, Goddess is able to swing out. I was going to say that in the context of the 2 C4s still left alive for the defense, but in all reality, they might not even be necessary if Gugudolls are able to peek for completely free. The first one goes out, tossed over the table. It lands at the feet of Mel's and puts Kato in an unwinnable situation. Has to push through doorways, kill 2 people at once, though. 2 of them are on 1 HP, and Moshizo will give her life away, put herself on the floor. Kato with the pistol spray is able to stop padding the stats of Lauren. Goddess moved around the corner. She falls as well. Now it's suddenly winnable. I might have spoken too soon. Marmalade does have the angle, and she has the intel on Kato's position. Not direct, but based off sound. And it's Kato who's playing the guessing game, who's face checking, trying to find where the Jaeger is. She'll start to get the bomb down. 10 seconds left. She has time to bait it off a couple times. Marmalade will sprint, and that's exactly what Kato will do. She'll rotate off, go for the swing, but Marmalade, she's smart. She's seasoned. She knows she doesn't have to peek. It's all on Kato, and it's too late. We've hit 000. The ping's coming through. Might be a bit of a lengthy rotate. She'll have to turn the corner, and the pre-fire comes through. A nice try by Kato, but it's still a GUGUDOLLS round in the end.
Yeah, that was almost the biggest overconfidence, and we get I don't know if that was a bug, but we get a little look at the aces icon, and now that was honestly the closest that GUGUDOLLS have come to trying to find something, and that was just basically an overconfidence thing. That GUGUDOLLS was like, haha, we're just gonna win this out. I'm gonna bring pistols. We're gonna do funny ranked strats, and we're still gonna win. But Kato can still play. Kato can still play Rainbow Six, and they are, I believe, the top fragger of SUKUNA right now. So even though that somehow was a lot closer than it should have been, I think it's very, very important that GUGUDOLLS came out on top, and basement side did go their direction. And now we just go straight up to that second floor, which might eliminate any chance of SUKUNA coming back.
This is the only side SUKUNA have won on the attack. They've managed to mount an offensive strong enough to overcome the defense. And it did come from that Solarium side. A lot of it came from the pressure down below, able to be minimized by SUKUNA. But GUGUDOLLS, their adaptation was they strengthened their hold. Had the two C4s, though only one now in their hand. They strengthened the bottom floor hold, and SUKUNA took too much time and lost too much manpower in the process to effectively translate that into an execute onto the site. Now, with less utility, GUGUDOLLS might not hold downstairs as hard. I'm sure we'll still see Moshizo playing inside that area because no matter the site, she's been in kitchen and dining. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Valkyrie there, but it appears that GUGUDOLLS, they're taking this a bit more horizontally. So, if SUKUNA adapt their take, if they rotate over to that side while they still have to clear out utility, it might fare better than their one-sided, one-dimensional Solarium execute.
Yeah, that really might be what they have to offer, is something different, something that GUGUDOLLS don't really expect. Because I mentioned before that, you go back to Villa, that GUGUDOLLS have kind of learned certain patterns, like Solus. They've got Solus locked down. They know how to deal with Solus. They know the patterns. They know that Solus was kind of held back a bit, that they were extremely aggressive. So now they force Solus to really back off, and it's extremely hindered their ability to really get anything done, as Marmalade's going to be extremely aggressive as well. They're going to hang behind this reinforced wall and evacuate as well. Now SUKUNA can push up a little bit further, try to get any presence that they can, because they need to get something done. And taking down Burb is definitely the first step right now, and the wall gets opened up as well. There's so much time on the clock, and yet SUKUNA have a lot to deal with.
But opening up that wall is important. That is often where the player with the bomb moves on in, gets that plant down behind that little half-quarter wall, whatever you want to call it. So that's important. Since nobody on GUGUDOLLS brought hard breach denial, it's free real estate for the attackers to take down. Do have Marmalade rotating, running around inside a bar. She puts Solus down to 25 HP, and Solus is not the kind of person to let that slide. She's looking around, but not able to find anything just yet. Cozy, also down below inside of main lobby, will make this position for Marmalade a little bit difficult to deal with, but she has this long angle as well. And nobody seems to be watching. Right as I say that, I spoke too soon. Woman Hater peeks on down, takes the Jaeger down, and that's the problem with playing by yourself sometimes. You don't have that support. Moshizo as well. A Claymore is what ends up doing her in because she didn't watch her feet. And SUKUNA knew she couldn't help herself from flanking. Cozy, now that Demetrios is gone, you end things with a flawless round, and we're left asking, where the hell was that the previous 5?
Well, clearly it did not show up, because it showed up possibly a little too late, as now GUGUDOLLS on their attacking side, we saw in Villa, their attacking side absolutely is on par with their defense. But now SUKUNA, they've ended up in a little bit of the same spot that they did last map. We are on that 4-2 split. SUKUNA, they did win a couple on their own side, but starting on basement, I don't know if they want to give themselves a little bit of a handicap, but going up against GUGUDOLLS on the unfavorable defensive site, I don't know is the play. It's the surprise factor. I don't think that's worth it when you just really need to play good siege, and you really just can't rely on these type of strats.
So far, the basement defenses have lived and died by the hold upstairs. In the game against Disrupt, similar story. The previous round from GUGUDOLLS, similar story as well. Able to hold up top, and then once SUKUNA were able to work their way in, it looked solid, but then the players on the site, they weren't able to properly make use of that vertical. So if the roam is successful by SUKUNA, they're able to take down 1 or 2 people on the entry. That's how this basement site seems to be working out, and how it seems to go when the defense ends up winning it in the end. But as you said, this is a bit of a handicap. There are just so many factors going against its way. As your first site to start things off on, hey, Solus, if she got a spawn peak, maybe it'd be a bit more palatable, but it certainly is a risky play.
Starting then off, Solus wanting to return to their old usual, because now they've kind of been settled in and gone for normality. They haven't been the star player. That has been relegated really to Kato, and now if they can really get back to their roots of the player on SUKUNA, really mesh together with Kato, then they can do much better for SUKUNA. Is that frag grenade trying to get something? Is right now it's going to deny something, and there we go. The Electro Claw is going to go off. It's going to try to deny, actually, again, this charge, and there we go. We are going to see another zap, but Dimitro actually is actually too late in putting the thermite charge that they actually are able to save it. So I guess take what you can.
Now no more nades. That sledge band rearing its head again. Probably a set of nades that we would see in the hands of one of the members of GUGUDOLLS, but now we don't. Now we're left to wonder how this is going to pan out. You have players rotating main lobby, Marmalade on a solo clear of that floor, though Burb is outside main door. They could pinch out Cozy if they had the intel. That is, of course, assuming they have the intel, which is a question. Marmalade is playing close. It appears that they know somebody is playing on this floor. Solus might have just tapped Cozy a little bit, but in the end, she was seeking out Marmalade, and it's Cozy to catch the prey. Burb has now made her way in, watched her teammate fall in front of her. Playing by herself, there's not a lot of chance for refrag if Solus manages to take her down. She finds the head. It's 3 kills in rapid succession to come back and even things up for GUGUDOLLS. And now that Moshizo's worked her way down, sure, she's lost the planter, but she has control inside of sight. With the intel now at the enemy's disposal, she's forced to rotate off, and it looked like for about 5 seconds, GUGUDOLLS had the power to swing it back. Now it seems like it's all coming up SUKUNA.
Still, Moshizo and Goddess both alive, and Moshizo, if they win the fight against Solus, which sadly they are not, and that's going to put a huge hindrance on the chances of winning this round, as 2 members in the basement, and we are going to see Solus on the flank. Goddess, you're walking straight into a world of hurt, and there we go. Solus, I think they've found back where they belong, and that is on the top of their own leaderboard. Right now, if SUKUNA, they are 1 round away from tying this up, and with how things have gone, you honestly don't expect the scoreline to be this close.
But if GUGUDOLLS are going to play into the roam, and the main way the teams have won basement today does make a little bit of sense. But as you said, the first half, it wasn't the closest. GUGUDOLLS seemed to be playing in dominant fashion. But that's what happens on basement. If there's any way to win, it's playing into that roam off the site. Moving to master bedroom and office. Won't see the Oryx, thankfully. We'll see the Jaeger instead. An operator who I think we can all agree his utility is a little bit more impactful than the former option.
Lynx?
You know, Light Rose, you know exactly what I mean. I know that you know that I know exactly what I mean.
All right, yes, I have to agree that bringing a Jaeger is 10 times more useful than bringing an Oryx, but
especially for the way you defend this site. Got the Aruna gates, the ADS is on piano. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see a dash exactly helping out in that situation.
Yeah, it's just the power that Jaeger has, with Ubisoft refusing, I think, to budge with, his ADS is choosing to go for, his speed, his gun. That's just kind of, he's got so much denial, which is why he's still pretty strong despite taking a major hit to his 90% pick rate. He is still considerably strong, and that's why we're seeing him somewhat. We're not seeing him always like we used to, but we're still seeing him in the majority of rounds. So obviously choosing a Jaeger, you're never gonna go wrong with him.
Well, that's what happens when you basically have a duopoly on the projectile denial market. Maybe a three-man market if you count a Rooney, but in
Duopoly.
terms of this, it's basically just Jaeger and mine. Those are only two options, and I'll take the 416 over the MP5K any day. But moving to the attack, you do have another operator that, in terms of utility, is always important. It's Flores. Talked about him relentlessly today. GUGUDOLLS struggled a little bit on the attack, using him effectively. Sometimes it was successful. Other times, gotta send 3 Rotero drones up main stairs, and they all got shot. Marmalade was sent out the first. Not sure actually entirely what it found, but Cattle finds Washizo. That's the Zofia and all her utility down, and we've just hit a minute in.
Yeah, now it's like we're kind of at a crossroads with now Moshizo taking a little bit of the solo armies strategy. Obviously, with everybody else, they still have the goddess and everybody else. You look at Burb right there, able to find the kill on Takosi, a great job. But now with Moshizo down, somebody needs to able to destroy this utility. You know, these surrogates, these deployable shields, something. As Kato just on these stairs is such a menacing person that how are you going to be able to deal with Kato without just having some sort of crazy play? And I think Marmalade going on this window might actually be the play, flashing and pushing. And right now, Burb, a great shot on that, but those stairs are a dangerous place that I don't know if you want to go up.
Clearly, Solus does not want to go up those anymore. Might have flashbacks, but same with Burb. As she goes up, Kato comes down and brings down the pain. The second as well. Third for her overall, but specifically on these stairs. Looking to make for 4, but a flashbang sails on in. She'll feel a bit more reserved and opt to rotate off. C4 will cover her escape and stop Demetrios from pushing up any further. Fortunate that Marmalade, I think she got to that rappel a little bit too late, or at the very least too late enough where she was not able to catch Kato on the rotate. What do you do for GUGUDOLLS here? At this point, playing the utility game is completely out of the window. You could go for that wall, but right as she comes on in, a pre-fire doesn't work for Kato, and in fact, it works for Marmalade. Both of them pre-firing each other's positions. It's the Flores to come away with it. He's on 1 HP. It's Demetrios with the bomb as well. All the players on SUKUNA are on full HP, and one of them is a C4. Mel's could rotate down with the lack of manpower on the side of GUGUDOLLS, and even if Woman Hater dies, it could still deny the plant and save the round. She kills Marmalade instead, no C4 necessary. It'll require a clutch from Demetrios to stop SUKUNA from evening things in the round count. She has to push into master bedroom doorway. At the very least, that's what she decides. Woman Hater peeks, but she falls soon after. Mel sticks back, waits for the 000. Demetrios will save her KD, but won't save the round for GUGUDOLLS.
Yeah, honestly, I thought we were going to have a little bit of a great spray transfer coming out there because Kaid and Valkyrie were playing so close together that I believe Kaid was playing in piano bathroom, that entryway, but luckily SUKUNA now evened it up and they get to go to bar. How are we this close when GUGUDOLLS had absolute control of the entire game just about 3 rounds earlier, possibly 2, but now it's Jackal, I think, that Marmalade's having to resort to just to try to shut down, you know, looking at Solus, Trippy, just something just to try to nullify the impact of these roamers.
That Valkyrie also showing how powerful the intel can be when left up in the hands of not just GUGUDOLLS, but SUKUNA as well. Though looking to complete their 3rd defensive site, and the intel does not stop with Mel's and the Valkyrie. Woman Hater is switched to the Echo. An operator that not only do you get that intel, that Yokai's their biggest moment is later on in the round once the execute is going down, which is where GUGUDOLLS have been brought. They've been brought to that execute stage, but then they're taken down because of either people lost early on or gunfights not going their way in the site. This is the round that I think is the most important of the half so far. If GUGUDOLLS aren't able to clear out this setup, which based on the way SUKUNA are playing it, they're not doing anything too crazy. While they have the Echo, this is still a very common way to defend this, at least in terms of the setup. If they're not able to take this down, it's looking worrying for their attacks, and we might see an echo of what happened against Trap Queen just a couple weeks prior.
Yeah, that echo of an echo, obviously, with how impactful echo can be. And we saw earlier in these earlier matches that echo was played on certain sites, but just didn't have the impact because the communication just wasn't there, wasn't able to give off the indication of a plant, wasn't able to do something like that, but God is shattering something, and now the entry might happen. Demetrios, that is a frost mat between your legs, my friend, and now an entry coming on in. The Goddess is going to try to repel anybody coming through, as Marmalade actually shuts down Cozy as well. So 4v4 happening, and GUGUDOLLS is, I have to say, it is a failed attempt at a rush, and now you give SUKUNA the edge in this map.
Shiza will spot Mel's leg, so bullets into the calf, the recipe there to make this a 1v2. But you can see the situation Moshizo is left in. Kato has diffuser control, holding above inside of library. She finds an Echo and does still have a minute 50 seconds left. Woman Hater is the only one on the site right now, playing directly below that hatch. Moshizo might be able to find an angle that won't give herself away to Kato playing on that hatch. She'll open up the wall to her right. That's where Woman Hater is looking, but it is that Kato, that player on the hatch, to seal her fate. A quad for the smoke on that round, just holding down inside a library. SUKUNA have completed the flawless cycle and taken the lead in this match.
And now it's just opening up the doors to Kato. Everybody is just walking into the shotgun shells of Kato. And it seems like it's a point and click adventure for them. They are, it's not that Kato is doing great. GUGUDOLLS literally are just walking in, and it's unfortunate that they're kind of just playing one after the other, ducks in a row, going on over to basement. GUGUDOLLS need to win this side. Like, this is a must-win round because basement, once again, is the least defendable site out of the three. And if you can't repeat, if they repeat a win on basement site, and it's GUGUDOLLS, obviously it's their map to lose before, but now just even more, and now that SUKUNA has taken the lead and going over to basement, a site that they have won before.
The problem here was GUGUDOLLS playing into the roam and not able to clear it out. The gunfights in this setup from Solus back on library stairs, and I believe Cozy as well on that Jaeger. It's too strong to counter. Took down 2 members of GUGUDOLLS without any answer back from that team. So for them, with the Flores, with the Thermite, I think your best bet is just to try and open up the pressure on the site early on, because we've seen how powerful it can be when you open up those holes. While the defense has won the round at the end of the day, it's required taking gunfights that aren't advantageous to you when that red wall is open, when the hatch is open as well and you have control of it. But even with the horizontal at your control, it's difficult to fight off that site. But attacking teams today, and GUGUDOLLS being one amongst many, have always seemed to find elusive just a couple more angles or lose a couple key gunfights.
Key gunfights are really the way that GUGUDOLLS can definitely bring this back. They're falling back on, their ability to shoot good, obviously, with Moshizo is gonna be really, really impactful. You see going through Small Garage, you are kind of funneling yourself in a very, very tight space, but that is gonna allow you to get closer to the site without a true indication to this enemy team. You see Burb placing an air jab. That's gonna be very, very helpful because of Cozy upstairs, that he's trying to slink through the kitchen. And she, obviously, we've seen that it's very, very important to be on that flank watch. And with the Flores doing their job, Goddess destroying absolutely everything with the Gon 6. Right now, GUGUDOLLS setting themselves up for success. Still, I'm worried about Cozy on the flank. I'm worried that C4s are just going to put the nail in the coffin for this attack.
That is one thing I will say can sometimes be the deciding factor. Are these C4s? Woman Hater appears ready and primed to throw it out, and she will, and there's Goddess to walk right into it, almost catch it as she rips a nade. There's that opening pick, no cost incurred by SUKUNA. Woman Hater's rotated back. She just has to hold her angles. Still plenty of potential for GUGUDOLLS to open up the site. They haven't opened up red wall just yet. No hard breach denial on this wall, or there might still be a mute jammer alive on it, so they will have to destroy it. Take that back. They do still have to open up that wall. One more exothermic in their pocket. It seems to be a bit more elusive than otherwise might have been thought. She'll have to rip it off the wall, rip one off the wall. Now dedicated here, but so much time has been wasted, not really by anything active from SUKUNA, but just by the mute devices not able to be destroyed and a C4 from Woman Hater. So again, it seems to defy logic, but this basement site is strong because of that. Burb moves on in. moves in swift with the bomb as well. Nobody's in a position to counter this. 2 kills go the way of GUGUDOLLS, and all the angles seem in their favor. The roam up top doesn't matter, and the side play might not as well. Nels tries her best. She's countered out by Burb, but the flank goes down despite that. She swings around. It's Solus left to try and pick up the pieces. She'll bring it to a 1v1. She's on 1 HP as well. Moshizo bides her time. All she has to do is wait. The intel at her disposal, but she has her gun down, able to bring it back up in time. She stops the bleeding, evens it up 5-5, and we're at the penultimate round. Whoever wins this, they're on match point.
Oh my gosh, these rounds are getting so close. A great job and a great angle set up by GUGUDOLLS to cover the plan. You look into blue, into Snowmobile, and he's really just setting themselves up, as I mentioned, for success. And they did that great. And the 1v1 that I think we're all waiting for, Solus versus Moshizo, and just winning it out in the end is Moshizo having that angled grip. I thought that they were destined to lose it for sure, that we obviously saw Solus was ready to come up knowing Moshizo was there, but still, angled grip is a powerful thing. And a 5v5, anybody can take the advantage here. As we're going over to that second floor, this is a site that GUGUDOLLS is struggling to really get a victory on. They need to do it for their own sake, put an end to this match, because it's getting a little scary that you don't want to go to this third map against SUKUNA, seeing what they have done in Chalet.
With GUGUDOLLS on that attack as well, we saw how much they stalled out. Not, well, yes, from the utility, but not as complex a setup as you have on, say, a site like Office. They were stopped by some Ute Jammers, a C4, but not that much beyond that. Now you have to cut through a shield, Aruni Gates, ADSs, Evil Eyes, Jaeger ADSs. You still had to cut through a lot of those on the attack, but now it's much more layered, much more spread out, not all concentrated on the site like it is on Basement. And GUGUDOLLS have struggled to adapt to that style of play. They've also struggled to clear out the roam sometimes. It's always come at a cost. Never a kill that goes untraded by the side of SUKUNA. Nobody's playing too far off the side this time, so that possibility, it'll likely be off the table. They'll have to hit the site. They'll have to play the utility, which has been a struggle for them so far.
Drones coming in, the information very, very important to GUGUDOLLS. It's allowing Goddess and Demetrius to go on in. And still, the Surya Gate's gonna be very, very... And Marmalade kind of... I don't want to say throwing their Twitch drone into the site, but obviously they were trying to get those Kite Electric Claws, but there's just so much defense that really not having any chance. That's why we do see a lot more Floras, simply because once you activate that destruct button, it is impenetrable. I believe it can be destroyed with explosives, but still, it is going to be a very hard thing to do. Kind of have to use a lot of utility to save your utility, I guess. But still, drones trying to be used, trying to create different angles. A great angle, actually, by Moshizo by default, trying to push Woman Hater off anything. And there we go. The Electric Claw is going. And now that wall should be opened up, as GUGUDOLLS open that up a little bit later than we have seen SUKUNA get that open, as right now it's really just the Maestro with that holographic. Sadly, not the ACOG that we do see in the intro, but it is still a deadly machine. Right now, nobody's really taken any damage just yet, and whoever does, it opens up for a world of hurt once we see these bullets start flying.
Was that wall that proved elusive for GUGUDOLLS last time until the final second, so opening it up early on, we've seen what can happen once they open that wall. A quick entry in. This time it's Goddess taking the helm, spots the feet of the Jaeger, 2 kills for her behind Piano. A third flies in for Burb as GUGUDOLLS fly into sight and fly to match point. A flawless round to finish things off. And almost like what we asked for SUKUNA at the end of their half, where was that GUGUDOLLS this entire time? Able to clear the utility incredibly quick, build off the entry on top of that. They've had bits and pieces, but now they finally put them together in that round.
Things are crazy. We go from SUKUNA absolutely taking control of everything, and then it's a 1v1 extremely close match, and then it's a GUGUDOLLS flawless round. It's, oh my gosh, this is back and forth, back and forth. You truly don't know who is going to win this out. We're going back to Basement. SUKUNA is ignoring Bar Gaming, and it's straight to Basement. We go Kato going onto the smoke, which sadly Oryx do go zoom, but smoke go whoosh, and smoke go whoosh is more important in this match point.
to continue off your eloquent wording
Thank
of
you.
Smoke's utility. Waste a lot of time. The whoosh wastes, well, each whoosh, there are 3 of them. 3 times 1. Well, actually, that's not how that works. 3 times 10, excuse me, there's a 1 in there. 3 times 10 is 30. 30 seconds that Kato is able to waste. GUGUDOLLS' strat so far, once they've managed to clear out the utility, which can sometimes take a minute, sometimes it can take 2 minutes and 45. Once they get the utility, they basically push on in immediately after. Not a lot of break. Basement, the moment they open red wall, Burb immediately pushes on in and starts getting the bomb down. That round as well, that we just saw in Office, open up that wall, clear out Piano, 30 seconds later, Goddess is inside, prone behind, gets 2 kills. So bringing a smoke, that will likely help them immensely. Because if GUGUDOLLS, if they get the red wall open and SUKUNA anticipate an immediate rush on in, all they got to do is toss out 1 canister, and there it goes, it's done. But there also might be something going here. A Cade Claw goes on the wall, Exothermic placed on, but it electrifies. So any quick play inside a garage wall, not happening so far.
Right now, it's just so tense. SUKUNA on the cusp of match point with GUGUDOLLS, and GUGUDOLLS still wanting to keep, that map streak, and Trippy Mel's able to shut down that Twitch drone, and now they really don't have anything yet to deal with that electrical light. They need somebody to go upstairs and try to deal with it, but we just see that still waiting for something to happen. ADS is being drained. Frag grenades, are they thrown in? We see Goddess prepping in the Gon 6. That thing does not have any range, and sadly, it seems that GUGUDOLLS might be out of options, as Moshizo is really their last hope in trying to take care of this Electroclaw.
Will be taken down, but there's a second in the pocket of SUKUNA. Will it land in time? Yes, it will. Excellent read by Mel's, and that might be what defines the round. That is, unless Burb has anything to say about it. Opening kill onto Solus. The second Exothermic goes on the wall. Nothing for Mel's to deny it this time. They'll have to make do with the entire half of the site, one of them, completely wide open. 1 player also playing on blue stairs. That's Moshizo making her way down. Cozy contemplating a peek. She hasn't been successful so far. 3 and 10 at the moment. And if she fails here, it could be 3 and 11, and that's the score line she ends on. Moshizo continue to play while Burb plays up top. It's Goddess to get the next pick as she moves on in. She gets the 2, and it's done! A flawless round, 2 in a row. It looked shaky at first. GUGUDOLLS bring it back. They lost Chalet 7-5 to Trap Queens. They win it 7-5 against SUKUNA. They're your second team. The upper bracket finals against Disrupt Gaming.
I thought for sure that we were going to see